Hello everyone, your friendly neighborhood pro-life advocate here. I just wanted to take a quick moment and record a video responding to something that was recently stated by Donald Trump. He made the statement that women who have an abortion should be thrown in jail, and this has got a lot of the people in the pro-life field kind of up in arms about it, and of course pro-choice people are running with it and trying to argue that the pro-life field is inconsistent by denying it and so forth. And then, of course, Trump took it back 5 minutes later once he realized how unpopular his statement was. And so this is the man that a sizable portion of Republicans want as president. But I digress. I just wish they stopped calling themselves Republicans because they apparently want someone they can boss around, not someone who will do the right thing. But anyway, Trump made this statement, and so I seem to be in the minority of pro-life people who actually think Trump was not off the mark on this. And I want to outline a couple quick reasons as to why. So first I want to respond to a couple of objections, and then I'm going to make my brief case. So one of the objections I've heard is that it's misogynistic to throw women in jail if they go and have an abortion. And this just strikes me as patently absurd to make this argument, because women, like men, are moral agents, and being a moral agent requires intellect and a will. And so they have the same intellect and the will that we do. So they have the intellect, which can determine right from wrong, and they have the will to where they, even though they might find themselves in a difficult situation, they still have willpower. In other words, they can decide not to have the abortion and do the right thing, but the more difficult thing. So in the same way that we would expect a woman to take responsibility for her actions if she has sex before she's married or doesn't feel ready to have a child, to where we would expect her not to have the abortion, but we would expect her to either raise the child or gift the child to a loving family for adoption. We should also expect her and hold her responsible if she does the wrong thing and has the abortion. So it's not misogynistic to hold her responsible for her actions and treat her accordingly if she does something that's against the law. Another objection I'm hearing is that before Roe v. Wade happened, they would not hold any women accountable. They would only go after the abortionists. And that's mostly true, but not completely true. They would actually prosecute women for having abortions. Sometimes they would go lenient because about 100 years ago, abortions were very dangerous. It was almost seen like an act of attempted suicide if a woman was to have an abortion. But before Roe v. Wade, women were held accountable for their abortions, but they were granted immunity if they gave up the abortionist because they had bigger fish to fry, if you will. That going after the abortionist would basically save more lives than going after each individual woman who has the abortion. So it's not that they would never prosecute a woman who has an abortion. It's just that they would grant her immunity if she would give up information on the abortionist. So now I want to lay out a quick case as to why we should punish at least some women, if not all of them. Because there is a sense in which women have been victimized by our society because they've been told that the unborn is only a clump of cells, that it's not a real human being, all of these kinds of things. But I'm not sure they would have learned in, for example, an elementary school biology class that an unborn human being is just a clump of cells. So I don't know if we can necessarily say that a woman has been completely victimized, because really this is elementary information that everybody should know and understand. It might make it easier to go through with the abortion decision, but if they tell themselves that it's just a clump of cells, but it doesn't really absolve them, because this is just basic information that everyone should know, and that even Alan Guttmacher in 1933 said is so simple and evident that it's difficult to picture a time when it wasn't part of the common knowledge. So there is a sense in which they've been victimized, and so a lot of women are not as culpable for their abortions as some women are. I think some women are very culpable. They know exactly what it is that they're doing. But the abortionist always knows. And some women, the women who have actually been victimized, some have actually been coerced into having an abortion, are not as culpable and are not deserving of as severe punishments as the women who abort in full knowledge. Now, we should talk about what the three purposes of punishment are. Well, first and foremost, the most fundamental purpose of punishment is retribution. If you commit a crime, you deserve to be punished for it. That's just simple logic, and the punishment should not exceed the seriousness of the crime. Now, another purpose of punishment is rehabilitation, where you want to rehabilitate them so that they don't get out and commit the crime again. But another purpose of punishment is as a deterrent. Now, if you want to deter abortions from happening, well, then you can't just let any woman who aborts get off scot-free. I mean, those of you who are parents know that you can't just go back on your punishments, because if you keep threatening punishments for your kids when they do the wrong things, eventually they're going to understand, well, you know, mom is threatening me, but she never follows through. So they're not going to end up doing the right thing. They're going to continue doing wrong because they know that you're not really going to punish them. So if we want the abortion laws to act as a deterrent, then we have to follow through on punishing women for having abortions. Now, of course, we would also want to do as they did in pre-Roe v. Wade, where we would grant some women immunity if they would give up the name of the abortionist, because that will save the most lives in the long run. But that doesn't absolve every woman who aborts from the responsibility of their actions. And so that's pretty much my case. So I thank you for listening, and I appreciate everyone's position on this, because I appreciate the fact that pro-life people want to come to more truth, and they want to do the right thing, and they want to do right by these women who are aborting, because treating women well and making sure that we help them is very important. It's very important to the pro-life mission. But that also doesn't mean that we shouldn't hold women accountable for their actions.